Factors are numbers that divide exactly into another number. For example, the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4 and 8. That's because we can divide 8 by 1 to get 8 with no remainder. We can divide 8 by 2 to get 4 with no remainder. We can divide 8 by 4 to get 2 with no remainder. And we can divide 8 by 8 to get 1 with no remainder. So 1 is a factor of every number, because we can divide any number by 1 to get that number with no remainder. Also, the number itself is also a factor. That's because when we divide a number by itself, we always get 1 with no remainder. So why is 3 not a factor of 8? Well, that's because 8 divided by 3 is 2 remainder 2. If you get a remainder when you divide by the number, it's not a factor. And the way to think about this is that 8 is not in the 3 times table, so 3 is not a factor of 8. So if we want to find the factors of 12, we could show 12 counters in one straight line. So 1 and 12 are factors of 12, because 12 divided by 1 is 12, and 12 divided by 12 is 1. Remember, 1 and the number itself will always be factors. But we could rearrange these 12 counters to make a different array. We could have 2 rows of 6. So 2 and 6 are also factors of 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6 with no remainder, and 12 divided by 6 is 2 with no remainder. We could also arrange these counters into a different rectangle. We could have 4 rows of 3. So 3 and 4 are factors of 12 as well, because 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we can always think about factors in pairs. Notice 1 times 12 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12. So the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Now let's find the factors of 16. We can show 16 counters in one row, because 1 and 16 are factors. 16 divided by 1 is 16, and 16 divided by 16 is 1. Remember, 1 and the number itself are always factors. But we can rearrange these counters to make 2 rows of 8. That's because 2 times 8 is 16, so 2 and 8 are factors. 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 16 divided by 8 is 2. We could also rearrange our counters to make 4 rows of 4 counters. That's because 4 times 4 is 16, so 4 is a factor of 16, because 16 divided by 4 is 4. So the factors of 16 are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. Now let's find the factors of 20. So we can show one row of 20 counters, because 1 and 20 are factors. We can divide 20 by 1 and by 20 to get numbers with no remainders. We could also rearrange our counters into 2 rows of 10, because 2 times 10 is 20, so 2 and 10 are factors. 20 can be divided by 2 and by 10 without leaving a remainder. We could also show 4 rows of 5. So 4 and 5 are factors of 20, because 4 times 5 is 20, or because we can divide 20 by both 4 and 5 to get answers with no remainders. So the factors of 20 are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20.